the best of times, you walk me through my darkest days. Why must I turn around? I ask myself. This just ain't fair, so hard to bear. I'm not really sure these days, You walk away, you talk to me.
How are we doing? Conasatá muid galéir. Welcome back to Gaeilge Weekly, episode number 90 this week. So fáilsarás week Gaeilge Weekly agrán iver anícha an Tseachtain seo. Hope you are all doing well. Thosaitheoirí gohfuilsibh galéir ag déanú. Gomá, everything is all good here. Tá gachard gomá an so. You may have noticed we had no episode last week, which was planned. Don't worry, beidir gur thug sibh faoi deabhar nach raibh aon episode an Tseachtain gacha, ná bí bortha bhí sé sin mar chuid den blan. Ach, an fáil sin, the reason for that, well, bhí lá an fáil na difriúla, there was a lot of different reasons, but I needed to take 1 week off before the 100th episode anyway, because I want the 100th episode to come out on a certain date. So bhí seacht an bháin na hógáil sir rih episode iver a ein chéad, mar thosaitheoirí I want gohfuil an episode sin ag teacht amach dáta áirithe. And last week seemed like the week to do it. An Tseachtain sa catsa bhí sé sin, well, dar lumsa or fector lumsa rénos grau sé sin mar an Tseachtain is fearr chun é sin a dhéanú. Why? Cén fá? A lot of things. St. Patrick's Day. I was traveling on Wednesday to Italy. I was traveling to Milan on Thursday. Lá le porc, no dearseachta le porc. Agus chomhpháirtíocht sin ag eitilt go dtí an Idal an Gaeilge ag fáil an train go Milan an Céadaoin. So I said last week was the week to take off, and I didn't do any work at all last week. Ní arna aon obair churbe an Tseachtain cacha, which is a rarity, but it was nice to have a week off and to enjoy the different things I had going on. Ní ana mé sin go minic, I don't do it often. Ach bhí sé go deas chun, just taitneamh a winch as rudí eile fa seachtainna amháin for 1 week. I'm still in Italy, tá mé fós in Idal, and as you might have seen by the title of this podcast, Prego, beidir go lisagah hana hain on headsail an bodcar le Prego, which means can mean a lot of things in Italian. Kind of means you're welcome, but it can also mean please. So cílíonn sé fáilt rótach freisin, cílíonn sé sais le the hell, breathan sé an ggóthaigs, that depends on the context. But I'm going to be talking a little bit about my time in Italy so far, why I've come here, what I'm going to be doing here while I'm here, how long I am, and so on. So by my lord, we cén fá will main seo, cén sais rudí will make Déanta one so, call it ceapam go dtí seo, agus mar sin. I'll still be in Italy when I'm recording next week's episode. And I'll probably be in the air from Italy to Spain when next week's episode comes out. So by my fós in Idal, nor I make tafadú an Tseachtain se thugan agus ceapan go mbeidh mé san air. Idir in Idal agus an Spáin nor a thugann sé amach ag a 2 o'clock dumsa a 4 o'clock on the Héireann, 5 o'clock for me, or 4 o'clock Irish time on Chéadaoin se thugan. But anyway, let's not worry about next week for now, but I will be talking more about Italy then, so I won't give all my thoughts. Yes, and I haven't formed all my thoughts even. Ní mé chun na swainte ar fad ó thuirt. Ach, funny what's go dtí an Tseachtain se thugan. But yeah, I suppose why did I want to come to Italy? I suppose that goes back to kind of end of 2023, start of 2024. Tinse sin arás go deire 2023, tús 2024. And I'd kind of said, obviously, that, well, maybe not, obviously, depends how often you listen to the podcast. Beidir nach chuil sé anna solar, brand say ar céicomh minic agus mín tú ag éisteacht leis an bodcar. But early of languages, it's even Sangica. Obviously, my job is teaching Irish and postatagam sin hon an Gaeilge a bhúna, or to make Irish easier for people at least, hon an Gaeilge a dhéanú níos éasca do dhaoine a laiad. And I live in Spain, so I like speaking Spanish and getting better at Spanish. Smatlam and Spanish a lot, agus tan Spanish agus mar sinja. But probably by the end of 2023, I felt like I'd got to where I wanted to get to with Spanish. Beidir ag deire 2023, bhochi mé grau an level a bhí a gcónaí wem grau sé buinte amach agam that I'd kind of, achieved the level that I wanted in Spanish. Now, There's plenty of foreigners in Spain who can speak much better than I can. Tá lá nachtraining sa Spáin ó bhfuil an atá an go leis go labhairt ó bhád níos fearr ná mé féin. But there's also a lot of foreigners who can't speak on the same level that I can speak. Tá lá nachtraining nachhfuil in an labhairt a level céanna mar mé féin. So I think there's no point really comparing where you are to other people. Ní fiú é compráid a dhéanú le cóhfuil tú agus cóhfuil daoine eile, certainly in terms of languages, liad le teanga couple with a lot of things in life, a lot of ruddy sa sail generally. But I kind of said, you know what, I can sit down with someone, and still this is the case today, I guess, tá mé an sí síos le duine agus fós tá sé cosú le seo, and I can speak in Spanish with them for 2 or 3 hours, and it's not a big issue. And when I'm watching a Formula 1 race or a TV show or the news or whatever, although watching Spanish, if I'm in Spain, it's like, no, being McFaken, Sir Shin, Tree Spanish, most rather go my Spain, and it's no problem to understand. And, you know, certainly Spanish, Spanish na Spania. South American Spanish is a bit trickier. Spanish over Cojas, Tashin, Bígí níos Jackra, places like Argentina and Uruguay and Chile and so on. But Erinos, tá mé compradach, you know, if I have a problem with my Wi-Fi and I have to ring up Movistar, the main Wi-Fi company in Spain, and talk to them about it, but tá fáil bagam leis an Wi-Fi agus caiith mé gléach a chur Movistar an stochal códach this mó leis an Wi-Fi sa Spáin. I can do that. That's maybe where it gets a bit tricky, or the major Irish sé Bígí and Jacker and sin, but overall, you know, I'm comfortable living my life in Spanish to the point I have to live it in Spanish. Anyway, tá mé compradach ag marchdal trí Spanish leis na rudí chaith mé déanú trí Spanish. So I said, you know what, it would be good now to kind of do something else, and whether it's a language or whatever. And last year I spoke about this a lot in the podcast, and nuair bhí mé ag labhairt faoi seo go minic an bud craile. I had kind of 2 big things, well 3 big things. I had kind of a lot of goals for Learn Irish Online, and really wanted to give LIO a big push last year. So we lán sprocna agam le Learn Irish Online agus bhí mé géirí, push more and brew more a chur isteach iirecht more stocha focail níos fearr a chur isteach iri gabhas fé cahar le Learn Irish Online. But the 2 other ones outside of that kind of extracurricular ones, na cían nachrá buinse leis an obair, the ones that weren't connected to work, they were to learn the guitar and to learn Italian. So hon on guitar ólam agus hon on idális ólam. Obviously not to learn them perfectly, and that's always, I think, the great thing about languages and instruments as well. Na rudí is fearr, or ceantas na rudí is fearr le teangacha agus freisin le orla shichol. That there's no, like, you could say, okay, I speak Spanish, for example. What does that mean? Because you could still get better. There's still loads of words you don't know, and even if you live in Spain for 30 years and you speak it every day, there'll still be an odd word or 2 here that you don't know. English is my first language, and I don't know all the words in English. MBéarla sin an chéad teanga tágam agus tá lán focail nachhfuil ólas agam mBéarla. So that's kind of, I think, something to keep in mind, and something I was speaking about, I think, a few weeks ago when I was talking about learning Irish. Ceapan gur méid labhairt faoi sin beidir cúpla seachtain hin cheachtain na Gaeilge, agus mise ag labhairt faoin Gaeilge a ólam. Anyway, Erinos, I digress, as I often do on the podcast, mar a dhéanamh go minic an bud craile. Yeah, I kind of said, you know what, I'll try, obviously, if you have Spanish, well, maybe not obviously again, but if you know bit about languages and European languages, má tá Bígí ar óla sad faoi teangacha go háirithe teangacha na Hórpa. You'll know if you have Spanish, it makes it a lot easier to learn Italian, Portuguese, French, Catalan, and also Romanian to some extent. So bíonn se bhád níos éasca má tá an Spáinis tá an Dális, an Rankish, an Fortin Gaelish, an Catalonish, agus go pointe an Románis a ólam. Certainly compared to other languages, ag gcomhpháirtíocht le teangacha, like going from Spanish to German or whatever, ag dul ón Spáinis go dtíon Gearmánis. So speaking away as much as I could in Seville, in terms of just speaking with myself mainly, and listening to a lot of stuff. So I glárst them féin, the Rick Gavil's fé cahar throughout last year, and listening to a lot of stuff, reading stuff, like leave on ruddy, éisteacht le on ruddy. But a big thing was not, and I spoke about this loads in the podcast, we make Lars Fisho go minic an bud craile an last year, that With the guitar and the Italian, I didn't want to force myself to do them. Níor mé gurí ílach a chur arm féin honey dieno. I wanted them really to be hobbies. If mé gurí go make siad mar chahavaimshred, that I would just do when I wanted to do them. So it wouldn't be like, oh, I have to do an hour and a half of Italian studies today, or gale to stadir dálasha a yellow and yup. It's like, no, if I want to do it today, I'll do it today. If I don't do anything this week, this month, whatever. When the natural motivation comes back to me in hagan on fun nádarha a rashwagan, then I'll go back to it and start going through some different stuff and start learning or studying or practicing again on sin thosaitheoirí mé no churmid who's leis an stadir agus leis an labhairt arís. So I suppose by the end of the year I'd learned a lot of things, but you know, it's all good and well. No, this is what you say for this and this is what you say for that, and being able to speak with yourself. But I said, right, I need proper practice, proper conversation, going back and forth with someone. Tá mé gurí labhairt le duine éigean sa fíorthail agus ceachtaíanú agus múnstar bheith agam chunrálam, oh, you should say this or that or whatever, begeartid sé sin ará, no, and so on, agus mar sinja. So I managed to find 2 different teachers in Seville, Italians who were living in Seville. So for my Bertrand Street Diffrula in the Goni is Seville, agus hosi me ceachtain a lobe. So I started lessons with them separately. And it was practicing a lot over the last few months, really January, February, March. This year it went from a hobby to, right, this is what I'm doing. I have to do an hour a day or I have to do whatever. You know, who is sé ó chahavaimshre go, okay, seo catatá weim manis seo an rudatá siúlagam. This is what I have kind of going on, really focusing on this. And I wanted to come seriously, but this isn't, I'm speaking a lot about the language, tá méid labhairt, you know, go mór an so faoin teanga. Ní bhaineann sé leis an teanga bháin. Agus actually, dearhin nach bhfuil an teanga mar an rud is tábhachtaí, I would say. In fact, the language is the most important thing. I suppose part of it is that I've lived in Spain for 4 years now. Tá mé machóní sa Spáin le ceithre bliana anús. And Italy has always been so close, not just geographically. Tá an Idal I gcónaí chumh don Spáin agus ní amháin leis an tíreolaíocht, but also culturally ó thaobh cultúr de freisin. You know, a lot of things are similar between, obviously a lot of things are different. Tá lán rudí difriúil freisin ach tá lán rudí chasúil le céile idir an dá here. So I kind of said to myself, you know, wouldn't it be good to spend more time initially? Nach mé sé deas an níos má chas nilal, because I'd only spent 3 days in my whole life here before when I was 16 on a family holiday. Ní raibh so ach fad 3 lá nuair bhí mé bhád níos óga leighton the sira chluine. Nuair bhí mé sé bliana ag díis when I was about 16 years old. So kind of said, right, I'm going to go for a proper stint, like 2 weeks or at least 10 days, 2 weeks, gel law, bids caiici, agus dull, áit against the Nidal, go somewhere initially and have the proper experience. And instead of just going somewhere for like a little weekend break or a holiday, whatever, and somewhere touristy, and áit dull and áit again, if I'd zero shot and agus áit le lan thuirsaíocht and not be able to practice the language, gan of in on and sangu, such, and not really being able to get to know the place or get to know people well. Gan of in on is dócha aithne a chur an áit agus an áit se hiscin níos fearr. I said, why not go for 2 weeks? Go for a proper stint. You work online. You're so lucky. Such a great opportunity. Tá deargart, tá jeisínta cad because of your job. Marielle are the first. Why don't you go for 2 weeks? So books come here for 2 weeks at the end of March. So chur mé gachar den áirithe an seachtain seo feadh cící seo ag deireadh bhí mórta, and I arrived on the 19th of March, last Wednesday. So chruch mé an Gaeilge an seachtain sechatsa an níolád mí mórta. And I have to say, tutto bene qui a Bologna. So all is good here at Bologna until now. At least until now sounds ominous. Gajisha, Erinos, Esquelganisha, Rohana, just whatever so far. So hopefully it'll continue like that. Sulagum Galanhi Sherai Marshin. And I was actually in Milan for 3 days because if you in Milan there for 3 law kinfa. Why? Because I have a friend who lives up in Zurich, a good friend from Gaeilge, Talchara, Karma Agam, O Challiv, whomans their skull Kayla. Agus tá sesin in the Chónaí Zurich. So he's living up in Zurich. So Milan, if you look on the map, is kind of halfway in between Zurich and Bologna. So tá Milan says Lavalach idir Zurich agus Bologna. Beidir buganí níos congri the Bologna, but not by much. Ní mór. Milan's actually pretty close to the Swiss border. Tá Milan sa chongrach don Trorán leis an Elvish. So we said, you know what, we'll go to Milan for a few days, spend a few days there. Rockymans could see Milan there for a couple of law a chahun sin. We went to the Germany-Italy game in the San Siro on Thursday. That was very cool. Humans could see an chluithe idir an Gearmán agus an Idal, sa soccer, sa San Siro. In Céadaoin bhí sin an chuil. That was definitely one for the bucket list in terms of stadiums to go to. I'm not a big football or soccer fan. I was when I was younger. We made gafa leis an soccer near bhí mini soga. An lot on Johan, really it's not a massive deal for me, but certainly I like things like stadiums and retro jerseys and different things outside of the actual kicking of the ball, you know, even with sport a féin outside the sport itself. So that was really cool, and they're going to knock the San Siro down probably in the next 5 years. Tá plan na acu hon an San Siro a scrusú tíbhas siad de chuig bliana so mBéarla sin. Maybe one of the last chances, maybe my last chance, I'll have to go to a game there to see it. So that was really cool. Beidir an chance Dearna Cavagum Hundul an Shin, agus an áit eáil, agus cluithe eáil sa stáid sin. So that was good. And then a lot of the other days, I suppose, kind of more touristy stuff, not super touristy stuff. We had some recommendations, which was good from our friends who used to live in Milan. Vi cúpla moille agin ó Chara lom bhí an chónaí in Milan, bliontóhin. Well, bliontóhin, beidir 3 blion ó hin, hartar am sin, maybe around 3 years ago around that time. So we had lots of good recommendations. That always helps, I think. Otherwise, you just end up going to tourist traps in the city centre, chain through the tourist traps. Agus Lorna Cathric, Munawil multi agat, no buganin, ólas agat ó chun éigen, who was kind of in the know if you don't have kind of information from someone who's a bit in the know. So yeah, it was nice just doing a lot of the normal things when you're on holiday, I guess, because I was more in holiday mode then. I mean, it's more late in the Sira on sin. Ige hu amach agus, you know, ag fannacht amach chun Gnáthleagan all irit na híthe, so staying out to have kind of a glass of wine after dinner during the night or during the evening, let's say, agus on sin. Because I'm just ag siúl timpeall na hot, ag dul go cúpla Ears Milan, gone to a few museums, just normal holiday stuff. So we should sing a jazz. Milan, I know I've spoken a lot on the podcast before about cities, and I don't really like really big international touristy cities. Ní Níon Cathrica on the war, lum on idir náisiúnta lum. Milan actually was surprised, but I actually liked more Milan, excuse me, I actually liked Milan more than I thought I would. Had Milan ní smó lum ná mar cheap me. For the first day or two anyway, from chéad lá no go. Arenos, like still walking around. I thought it'd be like Barcelona or Lisbon or London almost, but well, maybe not on the same level as London, based on the air level came in London, but like walking around, 80 or 90% of people seem to be Italian and we're speaking Italian. Up to fungade, no fungade, zucchini, but dalagi, agus vishi de glauert, just a dalish. So I actually didn't find it too bad from that point of view. Again, some people might not see that's bad when it's really touristy and gentrified and international, whatever. People have different opinions that, and I'm not particularly strong opinion. I just don't go to places like that. I stay in smaller cities as Farlam, Cathrica, Níos Luas, though still Seville, Spawn, not Seville, Soch more, Fos Seville still fairly big, but small compared to Madrid or Barcelona. Biog gcomhpháirtíocht le Madrid agus Barcelona, and that's why it's nice to be here in Bologna. Kind of was just by chance that I came to Bologna as opposed to any other city, and I have an apartment here to stay in, which is nice. The Orsan agam and so on the Fonnach down, so Tashishin jazz. But it's funny because before I booked the trip, Riv a churme on tourists in Oriha, a few different people again who were either Italians or had lived in Italy or Bologna, so couple din differul, either Adalig, no. Beidir daoine ará taithí acu ban seo I Bologna nó san Idal. They said to me, dúirt siad lom, knowing your personality, you'd probably like Bologna. You know, it's smaoinú faoi cénsáis duineú seans má go dat nóach Bologna go mór leat. A lot of people said that to me, even years back, to be honest, not even just in the last few months when I've been more into the Italian way of life, I guess, over in Seville. Ní amháin le cúpla mí nús ach le cúpla bliana nús, really, no bliontóin hin dúirt daoine é sin lom. So it was cool that I get to come here, and again, Bologna's nice balance that, listen, it's all nice and wild saying, oh, I don't really like international cities or cities with a lot of tourism. Ní had níon Cathrica le land thuirsaíocht lom, no Cathrica na idir náisiúnta lom. But equally, do you want to go somewhere where there's no tourism? That probably means the place isn't that nice. Chance not well enough on a yes, or that the place is a bit boring, depending on what you're into. But for someone like me, 24 years of age, who wants to obviously do stuff and enjoy themselves, well, like Gary, taitnamh a bhainteas on Thursday, agus rudí dhéanú. Then, of course, you want to go somewhere where there's stuff going on. You can still meet some international people, and it's not just like going back to the 1950s initially. Nils sé cosúla dul arás go dtí na ní te chuigeadí san idál agus gach duine idálach agus gach duine, you know, an sin ag githe in áit fear for the siúnta ach ní leon size rawa eile. There's no other options. You have to eat there every day. Caiitú hin sin gach lá. It's nice to have the balance. Tá sé jazz on an cabhrúíocht sin a bheith ad. So that's been good. I haven't seen much of Bologna yet because it's in Milan from Thursday till Sunday. Fi mé Milan on Céadaoin go dtí dhaoine. Agus then on Sunday afternoon I got the train up from Milan, or the train down rather, from Milan to Bologna. So for main train go Bologna ó Milan. And the trains here are brilliant. And the train chun so gohíntaach. Best definitely that I've seen in terms of Spain, Ireland, Italy, my limited experience in the UK, although I don't think UK trains will ever probably make a claim, certainly off their price anyway. It's cake of custasach agus the sheet to be number one in a category like this. But yeah, the trains are brilliant. Like within Bologna, within an hour of Bologna, Tíbhas or Clig ó Bologna, you can go to Milan. Milan's only an hour. It's 250 kilometers away. Like chéad is a 50 kilometer when and so in Bologna, but you can get there in an hour and 5 minutes on the train. Tá tú ná dul an sin or is cool nómid an train. Imola 20 minutes. Imola 5 nómid. Firenze Carrica cuaig bit. Yeah, cool nómid Carrica 45 minutes to Firenze, which is just Florence. Ferrara la or Bejer. Where else to do Rome? I think an hour and a half. Or Gale Gazzi on Rove. Parma 5 nómid. Modena, Troconomid, so 20 minutes for Parma, 30 minutes for Modena. It's amazing how quickly you can get around. And, you know, even the train I got from Milan to Bologna, that was going all the way down to Naples, that's going right from the top to the bottom of the country, really. Tá sé sin ag dul a war bun na tíre. And it was only like 3 hours in total, 3.5 hours the time from Milan to Naples. I think near Hogshaw, Carter. It's 3 or, it's 3 or Gale, or Milan, go Naples. Unbelievable. Really, and not too expensive. I think my return from Milan to Bologna was like, how much was it? 47 maybe? Maybe it was more. No, Harter 47. Captain Carcashocht. Harter and Maid Shin. I suppose for only an hour train, you could argue that's expensive. Beidir or a click, but anyway, we won't get into it. I'm on my holidays to my air. Malains here, kind of, because I am back working today. That brings us on to this week. Nice segue jazz and chin. I am back working today, but just doing a bit of content this week. 2 or 3 classes, but not many. Call no 3 wrong. I need more on. So very much enjoying having a bit more free time to make bunch taitnamh as níos am sir about agam, but still not being bored, because especially when you're on your own. Now, thankfully, I know a few people in the city, and I'm getting to know people and going to different things or whatever. To make dul go rudí jefriúil agus taitnamh agam cúpla den a hána féin. But I think, especially when you're on your own, if you're not working or doing something or got some structure to your day, or you're not there, whatever, doing a language course maybe at some school or doing something, man bhfuil tú ag déanamh rud éigin, it's very easy to wake up and go like, oh crap, I've got the full day ahead of me and I don't know what to do, and I'm kind of bored here and not enjoying it. If we lads on agus they make bunch tanavas, so it's nice to be able to do a few hours work in the morning and then do whatever I want, go for runs in the park, go into town, into Bologna, because I'm not staying in Bologna, I'm staying on the outskirts. Tá mé Erimel Bologna in áit Darvanum Castellecchio, in a place called Castellecchio. It's a nice, kind of quiet place. Really, I'd say I'm the only foreigner in town this week. It's my champagne actsanach. And so, agus tá sin jazz, I like that, rather than being right in the city centre in Bologna. I prefer it like this, more so the real experience. But I can go into Bologna and see there when I want to. Tá mé an dul Jack Bologna. Agus Bologna Ecol, they're Tommy. So it's nice. It's going really well. I'm very, very grateful over the last few days to my own week, like cúpla lá anús, because I know that, you know, a lot of people can't do this Londini, níl siad an an seo a dhéanú, and they'd give anything just come to Italy for a day. Maybe it's their life dream, like chorch siad aon rud an tacatí in $1 for law one. and I can come here for 2 weeks and do my work and not have to take holidays from work, but take a bit if I want and whatever. So it's nice, it's really nice, and I've enjoyed it so far. Getting to practice the language a bit, obviously. To my non-buglean Ceisteanna, a chhlaachú freshen chomhpháirtíocht, that's going good. Trying to read the paper in the morning and listen to stuff, podcast rather than listening to my podcast in English, listening to stuff in Italian when I can. Just really trying to immerse myself for the 2 weeks as much as possible, because obviously, well, I say I won't be back. I will be back, hopefully, but you never know. Níl sad really call her, so trying to make the most of it while I'm here. Tá mé géirí, stocha an méid smó taitneamh of Winchester, agus an méid smó tarva of Winchester to get the most kind of enjoyment and benefit out of it, agus misha an seo while I'm here. So going really well so far. Tá sé dul gama gají seo. I'm still going to be here for another week or 8 days at this point. Fós beim an seo for 8 lá. So there's a lot of different things I want to do. I still want to travel to other places at the Bologna. Tá my fós géirí tastal gásanna de friúla tíomh mu to Bologna. I want to go. If anyone has any recommendations where to go, please let me know. I won't be deciding until Friday or Saturday this week where I go. Níl mé chun cinenne dhéanamh go dtí beidir an aoine leis Saturn. There's a few places in relation to Formula 1. And there's your reference again to Formula 1, the weekly reference. Good lot, Madra leis on F1. Congra, the Bologna, cúpla áit Starroll, agus Callúil, a few historical and famous places. The Imola Circuit, the place where Ayrton Senna died. So on Circuit Imola, a lot for Ayrton Senna boss. I would like to go there, and you can see the memorial for him in the park as well, right beside the corner where he unfortunately crashed on Memorial Atá sin. So fork, Dúra Canacha leis an cúne, Dúra Canacha leis an barrier. A bhúil sé leis, blin tóhin, ní teag nó cachar, 1994, the 1st of May, a chéad lá to be Bealtainna, the darkest weekends in F1 history, but anyway, that's for another podcast. And there shot is Dúracha gan doubt is there Formula 1. It wasn't just the Ayrton Senna death that happened. A lot of things happened that weekend. Harla alán rudí an Dúra Seachtainna sin. It's a bit dark, but it is interesting if you're into that type of stuff. That's just simad the way so many random things happened. Well, some of them random, some of them not random, all in one weekend. The San Marino Grand Prix 1994 Grand Prix in San Marino in Níte Nócha Cahar. And there's also the Ferrari factory, which is only half an hour away. Tá an Monachar Ferrari hart ar laor weim freshen in áit dar ran a Maranello agus bíonn gach Ibri Ferrari, almost every Ferrari worker. Tossied in Nagoni, a Maranello, it's kind of like Ferrari town, and you can go and do a tour of the factory, it seems. So I'm going to do that at some point, maybe on next Monday. Keppen Beds on Loons to Huggin. And I would also like to just spend an afternoon in some kind of bigger town somewhere close by BHFAD. That makes win if we dull and shin. I'm thinking about going there. I don't know much about it, but I'm happy just to go somewhere kind of random that's got a bit of charm about it, but not over touristy, and I get the real experience and so on. To me, Lán Sauce, the Dulát again. Thosais an fear hahi adálach acu agus nachfuil mór an thosaitheoirí. So maybe Ferrara or Ravenna kept on tanam atá air freshen, bitter Parma, Nilsam. I don't know, yes, plenty of options, so I'll see. Thankfully it's fairly easy to get around here and I don't need to book things too far in advance. Tá sé sách éasca hon bugad timpeall na háite an seo agus ní caithfí mé rudaí a chur in áirithe rihre. So yeah, that is it. Thank you very much for listening, guys. As always, Sinead don Cheachtain seo. Gur míle mágah as a bheith ag éisteacht. Hope you are enjoying the podcast and hope all is well with you guys back at home or wherever you might be listening from around the world. Tá súlagam go gachard go má livse arash Somalia, arash an éire, no ein lot chimple on down, ein lot a will siv on Saachtain seo. As always, if you're learning Irish, there's loads of things available on Learn Irish Online. If you are interested in one of our courses, such as our recent, brand new 7-week level up course, that's available at learnirishonline.com. It's the most comprehensive course we've ever made. It's lifetime access. It should take roughly 7 weeks, but you can do it as many times as you want and take as long as you want to do it. And with all our courses, there's several other courses at learnirishonline.com. There is a 100% money back guarantee within the first 5 days of purchase. No questions asked. Agus tá Ballyrock Dumlán, there's the full membership on patreon.com/learnirishonline that gets you a lot of other exclusive things over there, including discounts for the courses on the main website. Lashkana, Sonorov, Lahai, na Corsi, Hall, Air, and Sieve, Idgerleen, LIO. Sinead, guys, míle buíochas as a bheith éisteacht le Gaeilge Weekly Mars Canach. Big thank you for listening to Gaeilge Weekly as always. I'll speak to you guys next week. go bhain go bheith thurm I live an tachtan siúgan slán agus bannacht.